Happenstance, and I'm Kendra, and this is Makes Monday, episode 44, Revision. And you have a cat scratching itself on your tripod leg. So if you're a little wobbly, Amelia, the people are not going to want to wobble. Cats, right? So as you can see, I'm in a different location than I was last time. I guess I am technically in a different place. I'm in the same room, just doesn't look the same, and I'm sitting in a different area. So I have been in the process of remodeling my office for the last 5-ish weeks since I filmed. Well, actually, the majority of the construction has taken place in the last, 2 weeks. But there was a lot of stuff that led up to it, and I did not film during that time. So anyways, I'm filming today though, and we will begin with our discussion of the word of the day, which is revision. Now, when I look revision up in the dictionary, we're gonna have to look at the definition of revision for English language learners because it actually has a definition. The definitions use revise in the definition, and defining a word by itself is just not good. So, when we look at the Merriam-Webster's definition of revision for English language learners, it says, a change or a set of changes that corrects or improves something, a new version of something such as a piece of writing or a song that has been corrected or changed, and the study of information that was studied before. All of those good definitions for revision. And I kind of look at the remodeling process that's going on in our house as more of a revision. It's not that I did not like my house. In fact, I'm a big fan of my house. I am just in the process of making it work better and making changes to make it more functional for our family. So we just keep revising, and even in the revising process, we knew we were going to change this room. We started gutting it, and when the walls were all out, I walked in and went, that wall doesn't look load-bearing. Can we move the door? So we did. If you would like to see more of the renovations that have been going on, you can watch my daily vlogs. I have a daily vlog channel called Happenstance Place. It will be linked down below. But if you look there, I've been kind of covering most of the days when big things have been happening. They're covered in vlogs. And then the days in between, there just haven't been vlogs because we're tired. That's how that works. So, as far as the revisioning of things, it has not only been in our house and this room, but it kind of has come across in every project that I realized I had to talk about today. There has been some changes, or it has been a using of old things, so you will see revision going on throughout. Also notable, today's episode is going to be kind of pieced together because a bunch of the things I have to show you are very large and are not best shown like holding them up here. So I have clips I have filmed where you can see them better that will all be spliced together. If you hate it, sorry, that's what we're doing today. If you like it, let me know. I might do things more like that in the future. I don't know. It really all just depends on my mood and what projects I have going at a given time. So, on to what is off my hook. There is currently one project that is off my hook, and all this time, one thing. And we're going to look at Kendra from the past, as in Kendra of yesterday, who wants to show you what it looked like yesterday. Here we have my completed virus granny shawl that I've been working on for a long time. The gold is Red Heart Super Saver in the color gold, and then this variegated is some yarn that I was yarn varied. It did not have labels at the time. And my goal in doing this was to work through till I was done with the variegated sections. Now first of all, you might say done, but your ends aren't woven in. Well, they will be in just a second. I'm going to show you the actual finished product. But here is where I'm at. And I worked on this a lot when I was in the car or out and about. I just kept going because I was trying to use up all that variegated. Well, in reality, when I put it on and look at the size, which I could not do in the car when it was roasting, I realized that I don't like the way it fits toward the bottom. It's too big. There's something just off about the fit. So I know how to fix it though. I am going to actually tear out the entire, well, I'm going to tear out this last row of the variegated, and then I'm going to tear out this last granny section and end with the variegated here. And I think that that will make it the appropriate size, shape, and that it will lay better. So that is what I'm gonna do. And once I do that, then I will weave in the ends and I will bring it back and show you the finished product. But darn it, I put in a lot of stitches that I'm now gonna pull out, and I wanted credit for that. Because sometimes I just, you know, you do these things and then you fix them and I don't show anybody in the process before I fix them. And I feel like I lost out on all that time and effort. So yeah, I'm gonna pull all of that out and go ball it up. And I will be back in just a sec to show you the actual finished product. So now the revision has taken place on my virus granny shawl. I went ahead and pulled out the last of the last section I had of the granny, and it ended it with the virus, and it looks so much better and it lays right. I don't know what went wrong in adding in the section that I had added in that went wrong, but something was wrong. It quite possibly happened because I did it in the car and I was talking, and while this is a simple pattern, you can still mess things up when you're not paying attention, especially when you're flipping between things that have slightly different tensions. So I'm happy with this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, if I'm going to use it or if I'm going to gift it or what, but it's too hot right now to wear it anyways. It's frankly right now even too hot to just like have it on me. So it's probably just going to go and sit for a bit till I decide what I'm going to do with it. But it might be a gift for somebody. I have thoughts. So that is my virus granny shawl, and I'm glad to have it done. I've been moving on to other projects. I guess that I actually have a second thing that's off my hook, but it's been off my hook for a little bit, but I did film a better view of my tides of change, so here it is. So I thought I would take advantage of the large open space in my office to show you my tides of change. Now, the ends have still not been woven in, but she's beautiful. Now she has a cat for scale. You will have seen Jezebel. So that is what it looks like, and I'm very happy with it. Now, there are parts that are not laying like completely flat, and whatever, I'm not concerned. It's going to my nephew. He's 19. This thing is never getting folded or laid out completely flat. It's gonna live in a heap. I know him. I'm cool with that. I think he will love it either way, and it will be perfectly flat enough to lay on a bed or something, and no one will ever notice. Plus, when I finish weaving in the ends, I will throw it in the washing machine, and especially with the lacy bits in here and through here, those will even out more with the washing. And it's acrylic, so throw it in the washer, then in the dryer. I'll pull it out when it's still a little damp. It's probably out of frame. When it's still a little damp, and I will just throw it on my king size bed and let it dry there, and that should be sufficient. And then it can go off to live at its new home when they're out here in August. So I just wanted to share that. I think I showed it to you when it was done, like with the stitching, but obviously the ends are still not woven in, but I thought that I've never really shown you a good laid out view. So that is Tides of Change, graduation Afghan #1 for my one of 2 nephews who graduated this week, actually. And here, just for transparency's sake, it's not laid out quite as nice, but we've got ends over here, we've got ends over here, there's ends over here and over there, there's ends over there, there's ends up there, there's ends in all the places, because there's like an end for every single round. This was a labor of love. It's a good thing I love that kid. It's otherwise, But it was fun to do too. So that is the Tides of Change by Freyko Randall. It is a free pattern available on Ravelry, and I made it out of 5 different colors of Red Heart Soft. So I have been working on a couple of other blanket projects in addition to the Tides of Change. It was just so much fun working on that one in the round. And I have a second nephew who graduated this week, and I had been working on, at first you'll remember I was making a rectangular Afghan for him off a Mookley blog pattern, and it was just, I was slogging through it and I was not enjoying it, and it was a poor choice to begin with. I bought the yarn when we were down for my mom's funeral, and like, I just was not making good decisions. I don't know that I'm making any better decisions now, but I'm making different decisions. I'm revising those previous ones. So I decided in the interim, I don't know if I've talked about it yet. I might have in the last episode. Anyways, I am now making another Franco Randall pattern called the Sands of Change for my other nephew. This is the Sands of Change by Franco Randall. I am using 5 different colors of Red Heart Super Saver to make it. In the middle you see cherry red, then there's claret. I'm also using charcoal, and then here's burgundy. If I show you a little closer so that the red isn't completely blowing everything out. I'm really happy with the project itself. However, I have a wee problem with it. Now, I had been working on this somewhat feverishly for a wee bit, and I was doing it sitting on the couch and other things, and I had not actually had the space or the inclination to lay it out as nice and flat as it currently is until tonight. And when I laid it out, I realized how not flat it is. Now, I referenced the pattern and I realized that there is no gauge listed, merely a hook size and the yarn. Now, I was using the recommended hook size on the Tides of Change Afghan and it turned out just fine. This, however, is puckering like crazy and I did not notice, and it's really, really bothering me. Now, I could just be fine with it and have the same feeling I was had with the Tides of Change. My nephew's probably never going to lay it out flat. It's going to just be it's not a big deal, but no, it bothers me. I think it bothers me extra because this particular Afghan just seems to be like one revision of project after another. I'm on plan, like I don't even know what letter of what to do. But I still want to make this pattern and I'm really enjoying it. So I got out my hooks. And I was using a J hook originally, because that's what the pattern called for. And I tried using an L, which I actually did like the gauge that an L was going to give me. It was much wider. However, the L hook was not playing nice with the yarn. Like, it was just not pleasant, the gauge that it was leading to with the stitches. And having already worked this far with the J, I kind of knew what to expect as far as the stitching, like if my rhythm was going to be a certain way given the stitch counts and things. So if I was having issues that early on, I knew I could anticipate that I was going to not enjoy it. So I ripped it out and I've tried it again with a K. And I am enjoying that more, and the gauge of the center triangle looks better. So we'll go over there and I will show you what we're working with. So here is the center bit made with a K. It has a larger gauge and it's laying nicer. So I'm just going to keep going with this. I'm going to, I think, frog that and use the yarn. I think I left long enough tails that if I pull out the balls in order, I should actually not have to add in a whole lot of yarn. My tails will just be shorter. But again, I won't know that until I kind of get into it. I have plenty of yarn. That's not going to be a problem. It's just an issue of if I want to use the stuff out of the balls, which I guess are over there, or if I want to frog and use the frogged yarn. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I was originally going to try washing the piece, like as far as it is. I was going to just fasten off, weave in the ends and wash it and see what happened. If it laid flatter, if I could block, but you don't want to heavily block something you're gifting. And that would make a difference. But the more I've looked at it, it's not. And the problem is gauge. And the problem was following the pattern that did not have specific gauge, which is fine. I just need to make the changes. And I think that it will work out fairly quickly because I don't think that what I have done, I'm through row 43 of 60 rows. Because I know it's a lot of, I guess, rounds. So I'm fairly far along, but it didn't take me a great deal of time if I remember. It's been weeks. It's been sitting untouched for at least a week and a half, 2 weeks, because it's been hot. But I think that I would really just like to come out of this the project that I really like and I'm proud of. And I also, if I do a really nice job and I'm happy with it, I could use this as my entry for the county fair. I had thought about using the Tides of Change as my Afghan entry for the county fair. However, it has those like rippling issues, and if they don't wash out, then I can't. I don't think it will score well. So I guess this will be my my attempt, and if this doesn't go well, then I probably just won't enter an Afghan, but I'd like to. So that is the story on the Sands of Change, and I am looking forward to working on this project and just getting it done, because I would like I don't want to be like I'm not liking the Afghan or if there's anything like negative about it, because I really am excited that my nephew's graduating and like I feel good things about that. It's just this particular project. It's just one of those projects. Some just do that where it just seems like it's one revision after another. You just have to keep kind of honing your idea, and eventually I know from past experience that I will land on the right everything and it will be good. If I'm not happy with it, I need to just make the changes now, because I'm never going to be happy with it, and I mean, it's not going to live in my house, but I'm going to know. I already have things about the past graduation Afghans I've made that I'm unhappy with, that I know exist in the world, so I would just like there to be as few of those things as possible so they don't have to float around in my brain. So now, there's another project that I have been working on. I was actually working on it right before I sat down to film this. I sat down actually to look up my Word and start filming, and then I spent like 3 hours, one more rowing on my blanket instead of filming this video. Oops. Sorry. Not sorry. No, not at all. I was having a good time. So what the project is, I'll show you in a second, like I said, because it's currently sprawled out all over the floor in here. That is the advantage of having an empty room. I don't like empty rooms, but there is a nice amount of floor space to film things. That is neither here nor there. So the project is a scrappy cotton blanket. What I did when I was cleaning out my office is I went through all of the crates and things I had put aside of things that I had made for sale. Now, I had made a lot of dishcloths, and I had gift baskets that had like mugs with cozies, and they were like gift set things. I had just a number of things that I came up with that I knew were no longer things I wanted to be selling, because I've moved my main business is no longer crocheting. Anyways, it's bag making, because that's just a better fit, time to money wise, and also locally I just can't sell my toys for very much, and selling toys online is ridiculous because the shipping is so high because they're not light. So anyways, I am fine not selling these things anymore, but I had these finished projects. Like, what do I do with them? So I've gone through everything I've made and decided, is it going to be gifted? Is it going to be continued to be as part of like my for sale set of stuff? Because I do have a few crates of that for when I do some local craft shows. If I take my bags and things to those, I have toys and stuff that I can sell till they're gone, and then I will probably be done doing that. I don't know. So I had dishcloths, I had cozies, and then as I went through my room, I came up with other things that I had that were made out of cotton yarn that had been different projects. I had a couple of things that I frogged, and so I had all these balls of frogged yarn, and then I also just kept finding more dishcloths. I had one piece, I guess I'll show you when I show you the blanket and explain where the pieces came from. So I decided I was going to make a blanket out of it, because dishcloths are just cotton squares. That's all they are. Or cotton shapes. So I can just stitch them all together and make it like a patchwork quilt. So I took all of the dishcloths and I laid them out, and they were all the same size, the ones that I had originally. So I just slip stitched those together. So this blanket does have a right and a wrong side, but I don't really care. It's going to be scrappy anyways, it'll be fine. So I slip stitched them together and I made like a grid of the dishcloths. And then I took all of the cozies that I had, and they had been cozies that I'd made that were like a strip of stitching, and then they had a border on them and like a loop, and then the loop went around like a crocheted button. So I actually clipped the edging thing and I frogged the part that went around the outside and the loop. And I left anything that was embroidered on there, like there's hearts and flowers and things, I left those attached. I took all those cozies and I slip stitched them together to make like a strip. So then I slip stitched that strip along the end, and then I filled in the gap with crocheting, and I slip stitched that filled section to the cozies. Again, I'll show you in just a sec. And then I continued this way with things as I would find them, with different size dishcloths. Like I kind of pulled them aside because I would have more than one of like a set kind of thing. And I worked my way around, and now I'm almost done. I'm almost through the entire, I had a king size blanket bag, or I guess I got a king size set of sheets, and it was flannel, and it came in this zippered container. So I kept that, and it had been almost completely full with small cotton balls from balls of yarn that I'd used for different projects and things that had been frogged. So I put them all in there, and I'm working on the very last ball of the stuff that's in there right now, which is super cool, to get to use up the stash and all these little bits and bobs, and I think it's an interesting project. It's kind of ugly, but in like a good way. Like, I really like it. I don't know that anybody else will like it, but that's fine because it's not for anybody else. This is for me because I really wanted a cotton blanket, and I have really been enjoying this project. Like, every time I sit down to work on it, it totally sucks me in, which is good because I have not been doing a lot of crocheting, and I have not had a lot of projects or things that have had that effect lately. And so it's nice to have something that's like, ooh, this is, you know, all the fun, happy, endorphin-y things. We like good endorphins. They're good things. Okay, so let's go and look at the cotton stash blanket. So in me talking about things not being square, not laying flat, this blanket is going to be very not square and not flat. Like over here, you can see it's got more space. And that is because of the way that it is put together. These things were all made over a long period of time, and I'm continuing to obviously add to it right now. So my gauge is different on the various projects, and I think they're mostly made using an eye hook, but obviously some of them probably are not. So the way I began was right here. You see there's 4 dishcloths across by 4 dishcloths down. So these 16 were the beginning. Then I went ahead and I took all of these cozies. You can see here we've got hearts and flowers and things. And so these are all different cozies I found. And then actually I ended up finding some more in the process. So I stitched all of those together just with a slip stitch. And then I put the right side of this to the right side of that, slip stitch them together. And then I filled in the gap here with a bunch, I just crocheted along that edge, went back and forth till it was the same length as this, and then on the back side I slip stitched those together. So then I had that piece, and then I turned it, and I added in these here, and those 3 are sample washcloths for a pattern I had designed for another website. And I filled it in actually with, I had made another pattern which was like a bathroom rug, and I had frogged it because I didn't need the sample anymore and I wasn't going to use it, so I frogged it, and that is leftover yarn from that. Then I turned it again over here, and these 3 washcloths had been kind of a set of things that I had made, and so I put those together. And I filled in with this billowing blues over here. Then I turned it once more. And this is where things get a little weird. So this washcloth I had made, I don't remember why. I think because I had leftover of this from making soap sacks. So I just made this little addition to make this the same size as the heart washcloth, put those together, and then I filled in, and this is all yarn from that bath mat I was telling you that I tore apart. Then I turned this way, and I had made a bathroom basket pattern for that website, and I frogged that, so I ended up with a bunch of white from that. But this is actually the bottom of the basket. I kept it, and then I just went back and forth like you'd make a scarf off the bottom of it, but I did a little bit of a pattern. I went single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, all the way just for some interest. And then I put that piece here on the end, And I had to fill in a little bit to make everything the same length. Then I turned it again and I found this, which had been a placemat thing I made on my other channel. Oh gosh, it's almost 2 years ago. I did 31 projects in 31 days. The first October I was vlogging, and I made that, and I set up a coffee station in my parlor. And I don't have that table anymore, and I wasn't using it, so I went ahead and added to this. So I just kept adding along its end. And then I turned this way, and I had started to use a bunch of the scraps that were in that bag I was telling you about. And I basically just made a strip, and I used a bunch of them, and when I felt like it was enough of them, I went ahead and attached it to the blanket. And again, I just filled in the corner till it was the right size. Then I turned this way, and this had been the beginning of a rug that I was making, and it was just made out of single crochet. And so I went ahead and attached that, which that might be the thing that's really throwing off the shape of things, but put that in there. And then I just went along. Well, I guess first I made that strip longer with other things out of that bag, and then I filled in this corner to make everything match again. And then we have one more strip that is made, that I made separately, like that kind of American strip. So I'm just adding that on, and now I'm filling in with a whole bunch of white here on the corner. And you can see, like what I was talking about, I attach the strip, then I fill this in, and then I'll go ahead and fold these two together and slip stitch it up. And that is my cotton scrap stash blanket. I don't know. Now that I lay it out, I may have to go and do a bit of revising. Ugh, that was a lot of stitches. I'll have to think about that. But there might be a few little revisions coming, because, well, I don't care if it's completely flat. There's a few things that are off that I think I could fix. And the final thing on my hook is I started another cardigan for myself. I am making a Kelvin cardigan by Heidi May with the Velvet Acorn. I made a Kelvin cardigan for my 5-year-old for Christmas. It was green, had buttons, but I'm making obviously a bigger size. I am using this blue and like kind of a silvery gray yarn. I actually picked this yarn and let Peach Slip pick earlier, like a couple months ago, and I just never got around to actually making the cardigan that I was going to make. I picked it when I was going to see my dad, actually, now that I think about it, and it hadn't come up because I've been working on graduation afghans. And I went to make the pattern that I was going to do, which was a free pattern, and realized that the dimensions would not fit my bust. And I was not in the mood to math to the degree I would need to. And I had a pattern from a pattern designer who seems to be able to make sweater patterns that fit me, which I love my Reminisce cardigan. So I'm going to just make one that I think will fit. So I'm making the Kelvin cardigan. And this is how far I am. For not very many days work. I am through, it's top down raglans. I'm through the raglan increases. I've split for sleeves, and now I'm just going for body length at this point. So I'm happy with it, and it's been a fun project. I think it'll turn out to be a nice kind of lightweight cardigan. You can probably kind of see me through it. And so that should be good and very wearable, and it's smooshy, and it's been fun to work on. So there will be more work obviously on this, and then I will just keep showing it. I don't know how long it's going to take me to finish it. Hopefully I'll get it done in a couple weeks, if not sooner. It kind of depends. What drags me away. I'm just kind of going with whatever projects seem the most fun in between all of the other projects that I have going on in my house. There's been a lot of things, and not a lot of time and or energy and or motivation to crochet. But the last few days I've been doing a lot more crocheting, and it feels really good and more normal. And yeah, I've been hunkering down today. I spent the last like 3 days kind of hunkered on the couch just working on projects, because that was, I don't know, where I wanted to be. And then I spent today in my office here doing a bunch of that, and that's been enjoyable as well. So I'm enjoying my space. I'm enjoying having a new place to film. things will keep changing. The view will keep changing for you for a little bit here till I get my shelving is not in yet. So those green walls you saw, you actually won't be able to see much of when the shelves come in. You'll see green peeking through here and there. Once I get them all filled in, you might not see green at all, hardly. We'll see. So yeah, I've just had a lot going on, and I hope to be back to making more videos. I won't promise how many or when they will come out, but getting to filming this one was an arduous task. Not for any like terrible reason, but because it's been like 5 weeks since I filmed and I have one finished object to show for it. I got a comment from somebody the other day that was commenting on how like the idea of being able to relate to me because, you know, having all these things in progress and not finishing things. And for those of you that have been watching me for a long time, you know that that is not normal. And maybe it's more normal than I realized, but I used to be someone who had tons of things done every week and things to show for it. And now I'm somebody who is #relatable because she doesn't finish things, which is an interesting transition. And I think it's the season I'm in. I guess I'm a not finisher now. So I guess I can join a club because there's clearly, it's not a bad club to be in. It just was not the club I used to be a part of. And now I guess it is. So with that in mind, I'm gonna go so that I can edit this video and stop being a part of the club of people who doesn't film their podcast for over a month. Oops, when it's weekly. Oopser. And I will try and get another one of these out for you a week from now. Hopefully I will see you all then. If you have not already, you can hit subscribe down below. That way these will pop into your feed along with all the other videos I make as they come up. There should be a scrap stash video coming out. Not scrap stash. What am I saying? I'm looking at my scrap stash blanket. There should be another yarn stash video coming out later this week. I've been working hard at editing those. There's several more because the stash is not tiny. It's not. But I'm working through it, so maybe it will be a slightly tinier next week. And I will see you all then. Bye!